In this lesson, we're going to summarize all the methods of solving quadratic equations. Okay, we have already studied 3 of them: by factoring, by quadratic formula, by completing the square. Now this is the last method, by square root method. So I'm just going to quickly summarize all of this. I'm going to solve these equations using the 3 different methods. So by factoring, first step is make the right side equal to 0. So we're going to put everything on one side by changing the signs. Negative 16 equals 0. So let's add like terms. So this will give you just x squared minus 6x minus 16. And then we always attempt to factor. This is a simple trinomial. So the factors of that will be x minus 8 and x plus 2. I hope you stop the video and just solve it first on your own. Okay, so here x equals 8 and x equals negative 2, and always check. Okay, next, by quadratic formula, first step is you make the right side equal to 0 also. So like I said, stop the video and solve this. Stop it, pause it anywhere you like. So don't just listen to this. You have to solve the problems. Okay, so minus 1, so that is 0. Step 2, get your A, get your B, and get your C, and substitute in the formula. Negative B plus and minus square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C. This one should all the way up there. Okay, 2 times 2. Then you simplify the numbers. So 3 plus and minus square root of 9 plus 8 all over 4. So that will just be 3 plus and minus square root of 17 all over 4. Now you could also get an imaginary number here, or you could get a radical that you can simplify. So be sure you know how to simplify. By completing the square, again, pause this video and try to solve this by completing the square. Okay, first step, you make the right side equal to the number. Step 2, divide by the coefficient of x squared. In this case, it's 2. So we divide everything by 2. So that becomes 6x is equal to 1/2. Then we have to add a number here that will complete the square to both sides. Okay. So to get that, you divide that by 2. So we get 3. Whatever is the coefficient of x, that's what you will look at. So then you square whatever you got here. So that's 9. So we're going to add 9 here, and we're going to add 9 on the other side. Next step, we factor this and we add this. So when you factor that, that's going to be x plus 3 times x plus 3. And this one, if we multiply this by 2 over 2, so you're going to get 18 plus 1 is 19 over 2. Okay. Then next step, we get the square root of both sides, plus and minus on the left. Okay, so this will be a pair. This will always be the same. It will always be a pair, or else you made a mistake. Okay, because that's a perfect square trinomial. So since it's a pair, one of that will go out. It's a pair. Okay, so this will just be x plus 3. And this one will be a fraction. You know, you cannot have a fraction in radicals. So what you do is you separate them. Then, I hope you know you cannot have a square root in your denominator. So you have to multiply this by square root of 2 over square root of 2. Rules of radicals. So this is in standby. So this will now become plus and minus square root of 38 all over 2. Okay, no more square root there. Now 38 cannot be simplified because it's 19 times 2. There is no pair. So the last step is just to move this to the other side and change the sign. Okay, so that will become x, okay, is equal to -3 plus and minus square root of 38 over 2. Okay, and the last method that we are studying now is the square root method. Okay, this is used. Okay, this is just a shortcut. Okay, you can use, if you don't like to use this, that's okay. This will just make it easier for you. When there is only an x squared term and a constant. Okay, and there is no x term. So like this one, let's simplify that. So we put everything to the left. So x squared plus x minus 5 equals 0. So you see this one cancels. So you only have an x squared term and minus 5. Okay, so when this happens, you can use quadratic formula. You can use completing the square. You will get the same answer. But when it is only like this, even if there is a 2 here, that's okay, as long as there is no x term. Okay, you can use the square root method, and all you do is, what you do there is, you just put the number on the other side. Okay, put the number on the other side and get the square root of both sides. Okay, so here we're just going to put the -5, so you end up with x squared equals 5. So what you do, you just get the square root of both sides like you did here. So get the square root of this, so the answer there is x, because that's a pair, and it will come out. And here plus and minus, don't forget plus and minus, so that's plus and minus square root of 5. Done. Okay, so that's very easy. So that is the square root method. Okay, let's have another example. Let's say you have 4x squared, okay, minus, let's say, -3, okay, is equal to 0. So there is no x term again, so we can attempt the square root method. Let's just put the 3 on the other side. It turns positive. Okay, we have to get rid of this 4, so we can divide both sides by 4. That cancels. Now we're back to x squared equals 3/4. Okay, then we get the square root. To remove that square here, plus and minus square root, don't forget it's always plus and minus. Okay, square root. Okay, so then you're going to have x is equal to plus and minus square root of 3 over square root of 4, which is just 2. So you get your answer right away. But don't forget that you can also use completing the square here. You can use quadratic formula. Your b is 0. There is no x term. So if you want to use quadratic formula, this is your a, your b is 0, and your c is -3. Okay, so those are all the 4 steps of solving a quadratic equation.